Welcome, everyone. For those of you joining us in the conference room, thank you for being here. For those of you joining us through our Zoom online meeting, welcome and thank you for being here as well. I appreciate you all taking the time from your day to join us for this 45-minute professional development. As we begin, for those of you in the conference room, please make sure you have your laptops readily available for later in the session. Our room is equipped with excellent Wi-Fi to connect and utilize during our time today. As I present the background data and key issues, please write down any of the questions that you have or use the chat function in the Zoom meeting. I'm happy to answer your questions after addressing the key issues and moving to the breakout groups and integrative training session. Let's get started. To begin today, let's take a look at distance education. Impressively, over the last 14 years, distance education has experienced consistent enrollment increases. Such a demand has increased the need for higher education institutions to add more classes and fill more faculty roles. Today, higher education institutions employ, on average, 70% adjunct faculty, also known as, or as we will refer to today, as contingent faculty. Yet the majority of faculty populations report feelings of disconnection, isolation, and a lack of value. Hi, everyone. My name is Heather Strafashia, and today we will explore opportunities to develop a sense of community inclusive of all faculty members to establish a consistent learning environment representative of each institution's mission, vision, and values. As a contingent faculty member, faculty mentor, previous university fellow, and prior higher education employee with almost 10 years of experience teaching distance education and face-to-face courses, I've developed a passion through research and experience to understand how distance educators feel a sense of community as those who matter and add value to the institution. To begin, we'll explore the conflict among higher education administrators and contingent faculty, then explore the critical issues within the lack of sense of community, and finally, we will explore a strategic resolution plan to create a more inclusive environment. Let's get started by exploring the conflict at hand. In the past, higher education was available in a brick and mortar, face-to-face setting. In order for students and faculty to attend or to be employed at a higher education institution, they may have had to relocate. Although, as time progressed and technology advanced, opportunities for distance learning increased, reducing geographical limitations for students and faculty. Initially, online courses were designed as an extension of face-to-face courses, but have since progressed as a unique model of instruction with its own set of opportunities and challenges. Unfortunately, this advancement increased the already present gap among higher education administrators and contingent faculty. Today, higher education administrators are challenged to develop a sense of community with contingent faculty who report dissatisfaction with support, inclusion, professional development, compensation, value of expertise, and communication, resulting in higher turnover rates. In addition, as contingent faculty employees increased, higher education administrators were challenged to develop a new communication method. No longer could administrators pass a message along at the water cooler, in the hallway, or in a traditional meeting. Communication now required increases in electronic mail, web conferencing, and phone calls, which needed to replace the traditional face-to-face meetings. To understand the complexity of communication, we can turn to communication theory, where the problem and solution to social conflict is communication itself, where verbal and nonverbal communication play a significant role in misunderstandings, misinterpretations, and misperceptions. In a social setting, nonverbal communication makes up approximately 60% of communication meaning. So, in an online and distance environment where competency is consistently evaluated based on literacy abilities, little to no nonverbal communication can significantly impact communication effectiveness. We can now see a clearer picture of how communication plays a significant role in developing relationships with contingent faculty members. Now that we have a clearer picture of the complexity of communication, especially in a distance setting, let's explore the first key issue of developing a sense of community: inclusion. When an educational environment is inclusive for all educators, community members feel a sense of belonging. As we already discussed, although distance education offered the opportunity to overcome geographical limitations to education and educational careers, the gap among higher education administrators and contingent faculty was not bridged and continued to decrease inclusivity. When inclusivity limits interaction, communicated value may also be impacted. This is especially witnessed when contingent faculty are overlooked for promotions or additional duties within the field. Some scholars recommend utilizing technology as a way to bridge the gap by developing contingent faculty-specific websites. These websites help guide professional development opportunities, exploration of the mission and vision, opportunities for support services, and mentorship opportunities. When we consider systems theory and apply it to the lack of a sense of community, system theory suggests that developing an inclusive and interdependent culture improves perception of connection, understanding of institutional values, and also improves contingent faculty retention rates. Now that we understand the importance of inclusivity, let's discuss how influential value impacts a sense of community. Influence within an interdependent community supports members with a sense of being valued and making a difference to the organization. As we recall, approximately 70% of faculty members are considered contingent. Even though the majority faculty body are contingent, there is an overall perception of a lack of value through limited compensation, benefits, and a presumed lack of competence. Since contingent faculty are part of a community, social exchange theory views groups as interconnected with a positive reciprocation after being treated well. As a result, when higher education administrators are concerned for the well-being and communicate a sense of value, the quality of the contingent faculty output may improve. Now that we understand how influential value impacts a sense of community, let's take a look at the impact of institutional integration. Community members are reported to feel a sense of integration and value when needs are met to support well-being and communicate value. In a career field where independence is highly valued, development of collaborative efforts can be a challenge. Although within higher education, gaining such independence requires professional development opportunities, even if advancement opportunities are not available. So when the need for additional faculty members increased with these technological advancements, higher education administrators viewed contingent faculty employment as a way to reduce costs by limiting the compensation and reducing or eliminating benefits packages. Needs theory suggests that basic needs must be fulfilled for individuals to focus on higher level needs. So, supporting contingent faculty through increased compensation and development opportunities will support both the needs of the institution and the faculty members while potentially reducing turnover. Although, in order to succeed, contingent faculty members must have an intrinsic motivation to seek out opportunities for development and academic excellence. So the responsibility for seeking out need fulfillment must be shared by contingent faculty and higher education administrators. Now that we have explored integration, let's take a look at our final sense of community concept, institutional connection. Developing an emotional and intrinsic connection to the commitment of the institution's mission, vision, and values contributes to a perceived sense of community. In addition, research shows that a lack of emotional connection to an institution increases turnover rates through unshared cultural norms and increased challenges. So, what can we take away from this? Well, when contingent faculty feel a sense of connection and satisfaction through leadership communication, professional relationships, and a perceived sense of community with culture, the perception of the teaching environment may improve and reduce turnover of quality contingent faculty members. As higher education administrators, we must understand the value of an emotional connection. Supporting an emotional connection may require further adjustments in communication methods, such as getting creative with asynchronous and synchronous communication. In another practical sense, we should consider further developing mentorship opportunities. Mentorship programs also foster collaboration, communication, satisfaction, acceptance, and a sense of community while reducing barriers, improving technological competency, and supporting these quality teaching methods that we want. At this point, we have a better understanding of our goal as higher education administrators, the conflict, and the key issues we are focused on. The highest goal at this point is to develop a sense of community, to develop an inclusive, integrated, value communicating, and connected environment for all faculty members. Before we begin our hands-on training, what questions do we have on the goals, the conflict, key issues, or the theoretical base? Oh, in our Zoom meeting, we have a chat window here, and it looks like the question from a department chair member. She asks, how does understanding communication theory help guide us to completing the sense of community goal? That's a great question. To address this, let's go back to our communication theory slide. Communication theory attempts to explain the complexity of communication. As higher education administrators, it's important to understand that our communication effectiveness or ineffectiveness may impact the level of understanding, interpretations, and perceptions developed by the recipient. Focusing on our goal of developing a sense of community, we must explore our personal communication tendencies, then strive to develop the most effective communication in order to guide inclusive, integrated, value communicating, and connected relationships with contingent faculty. The more we succeed in developing a sense of community, the more effective and consistent our teaching methods will be as we lead students within the university. Thank you so much for that question. If there are no other questions at this time, let's move forward to our strategic plan to create a sense of community. If you think of any additional questions, please feel free to ask them throughout our next activities. You can also email or Zoom chat your questions. So at this time in the professional development, we will be developing a more dialogued conversation. I will be here to guide ideas and present the plan of action as we explore group facilitation, negotiation, and trust building strategies. Our first phase in developing a sense of community is to develop our group facilitation skills. To do so, we need to develop our understanding of our personal group communication styles. This may impact how we, as higher education administrators, facilitate our groups to develop that sense of community. The very basic group roles focus on task and maintenance roles. Task roles focus mainly on solving problems and attaining goals, whereas maintenance roles focus on the social development of the group members. Within task and maintenance roles, there are 5 basic roles: initiator, informer, orienter, recorder, and encourager. Today, we will explore which of these roles we tend to lean toward in group communication to better understand how we may facilitate a group. As you can see, these 5 basic roles have characteristics typically associated with the role to be filled. Our personality, experience, and a variety of other factors can impact the type of role we tend to play in a group setting. At this moment, we will take 10 minutes to break into groups. Those here in the conference room will simply turn to your table mates and assume your group. Those in our Zoom meeting will be placed in groups momentarily, so just hang tight for me right there for a minute. During our 10 minutes, please review the group roles on the slide. Rank your tendency to fulfill each role, then discuss your rankings. You may rank each of these group roles using 1 through 5, 1 being the most often assumed role and 5 being the least assumed role. If we don't have any questions, let's begin. So great job in our breakout groups. At this time, let's take a look at how our group roles may impact our group facilitation. When considering how group facilitation can impact a sense of community, we need to understand that group facilitation guides collaborative problem solving through open dialogues and established identities. Our typically assumed group roles for both administrators and contingent faculty may impact our overall effectiveness. As facilitators, we need to be aware of the roles assumed within the committees, groups, and meetings, then assume the roles that are less supported. Effective group communication will foster this understanding of positive relationships. Although group identity may continue to impact the communication received from contingent faculty, So consideration for an official representation through a contingent faculty committee board may be helpful. A contingent faculty committee welcoming of any and all contingent faculty members who would like to participate may change the group identity that impacts the overall communication. Such a committee will provide contingent faculty members with a method for communicating issues, ideas, and responses to higher education administrators, action, and communication. Overall, a contingent faculty committee will act as a conduit for official representation on current academic committees and boards. A contingent faculty committee will be helpful as we move to our second phase of developing a sense of community. Research shows that interest-based and transformative negotiation techniques develop collaborative problem-solving and relationship-building communication events. Earlier in the training, we discussed the concept of a contingent faculty member needing intrinsic motivation to seek out professional training opportunities and engage with the institution. Self-determination theory also suggests that individuals are intrinsically motivated to relate, interact, and experience activities with more extensive social groups. These communication events then produce feelings of competence, autonomy, and relatedness that fuels intrinsicism. So, developing a joint-based negotiation process focused on interests, communication, relationship building, and mutual gain, higher education administrators and contingent faculty may find opportunities for continuity, relationship development, and improved job satisfaction. The United States Institute of Peace offers a free conflict style assessment. The short assessment, available online at the URL you see here on the screen, provides insight to our conflict tendencies. The researcher in me prefers to take assessments like this multiple times, then take the average of the results. Today, we will have time to each take this assessment once, but I highly encourage you to bookmark this link to take later and then share with your department members. At this time, we will break out into our groups. Once again, for those of you here in the conference room, you'll turn to your table mates, and those of you joining us in our Zoom meeting, you'll be placed in groups momentarily. So once again, just hang tight for me right there. Please take 10 minutes to take this assessment, then discuss your results with your group. After this exercise, we will discuss how these results may relate to our abilities in the negotiation phase of developing a sense of community. All right, let's get started. Well, welcome back, everyone. It seems as if we had an energizing group discussion based on our assessment results. That's wonderful. Remember, this is an assessment you should consider sharing with your department to help improve understanding of conflict communication styles. When considering your personal results, this understanding will help you become more aware of your tendencies. If you tend to avoid conflict, you may consider methods of integrating constructive communication to overcome problems within your department. If your tendencies lead toward problem solving, consider how you can implement further interest-based resolutions. We can also consider additional negotiation techniques and preventative solutions. Mentorship opportunities help develop connectivity among community members, producing positive contingent faculty perceptions of communication, satisfaction, acceptance, value, a sense of community through involvement, reduction in barriers, technological competency, quality teaching methods, improved online teaching, and once again, retention. As we all know, retaining quality faculty members is more cost-effective than consistent turnover. So developing a quality mentorship opportunity to model preferred cultural norms will help develop an environment. When the environment is impacted, Bandura and Houston's social learning theory presumes that the individual and the behavior will be impacted. In this case, a positive impact will be the result. Moving to the third phase of developing a sense of community, trust building strategies, we now have a good grasp of mentorship and professional development practices and how they may impact the relationship among higher education administrators and contingent faculty. These activities will also improve trust as we open lines of communication and develop multilogues and dialogues with contingent faculty members. Just as we are doing today, increasing the use of purposeful electronic communication will help open up opportunities to connect. This doesn't necessarily mean additional emails, though. If we recall our own email inboxes, they are probably receiving multiple messages during the time that we've just been here in this professional development. So we must be purposeful. Providing effective synchronous and asynchronous methods will help build and support a sense of community. As you may recall earlier in this presentation, we discussed developing a contingent faculty specific website. Such a website may offer an opportunity for contingent faculty members to remain independent, which is a value in this field, while depending on the institution to guide cultural norm understanding. In addition to a contingent faculty specific website, developing a learning management system classroom for instructors to communicate, receive messages, and connect may also build trust while establishing interdependentness. Considering effective communication methods that are purposeful and targeted using specific channels will also help develop ongoing trust building events. Overall, we should take away today that we must develop purposeful and targeted communication to build trust, negotiate, and facilitate groups effectively. In doing so, we will improve a sense of inclusivity, influential value, institutional integration, and institutional connection among contingent faculty. These actions prepare future leaders for succession within higher education while remaining focused on present and future goals. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I don't see any questions in our Zoom chat, and it seems those in our conference room don't have any questions for me either. However, when questions do arise, please reach out to me via email or phone call. I'm also available to provide professional development trainings within your departments on more specific communication and conflict resolution needs. Thank you once again for joining me today. You can see here my contact information. Please reach out at any time. Once again, thank you for joining me and have a great rest of your day.